Well, if they don't have answers, or if they're implicated with an Epstein class, not a good look for the British monarchy.
This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. The Epstein scandal is not going anywhere anytime soon. I think the public's frustration has been growing over what many see, including myself, as an obvious cover-up. I think many of us feel like we are constantly getting the runaround. There's little doubt that powerful figures across the globe are being shielded. And that frustration is only growing with how institutions like the United States Department of Justice and the British royal family are handling it. While the royal family's PR machines, plural, have been left to manage the messaging, many people right now see William and Catherine breaking their silence as a positive thing. So the messaging that's coming out of London today is that the Prince and Princess of Wales have been deeply concerned by revelations from the trove of new documents related to Jeffrey Epstein, released by the U.S. Justice Department. A palace spokesperson for the Prince and Princess of Wales said, "I can confirm the Prince and Princess have been deeply concerned by the continuing revelations. Their thoughts remain focused on the victims." So what does that even mean? Are they concerned about more discoveries coming out from these files that could potentially hurt the brand? Their thoughts remain focused on the victims. Yeah, it's a nice thing to say, but it's empty. It's hollow. Like, what does that even do to help the victims that are not getting the support that they need and seeing the injustice that's happening right now? What's making me so mad about this is how disingenuous this is. Prince William and Princess Catherine decide to break their silence today of all days. Why? Why didn't they say anything when they stripped Andrew's titles last year? They knew these files were coming, so why today of all days to do this? I'll tell you why. It's because Prince William is traveling to Saudi Arabia for a 3-day tour, and he's meeting with the Crown Prince and de facto Saudi ruler, Mohammed bin Salman, seen here with Jeffrey Epstein. You know, I can't help but feel that this was a calculated PR move by the Prince and Princess of Wales' PR team. And I say this because we know that the royals are always concerned about how is it going to look. I can almost see the PR team sitting there saying, well, how is it going to look that Prince William is going to meet with MBS when he just showed up in the Epstein files? And we have this picture of him and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, from what I understand, this 3-day tour in the Middle East for Prince William is a big deal from a diplomacy standpoint for the UK. The last thing Prince William needs is another scandal. I mean, I think Catherine and William learned from the last one when they went to the Caribbean and Ngazi Filozi accused Lady Susan Hussey of being racist. Now, if you were around that time when this all happened and was following the saga, then you would know the amount of noise that was created to try to overshadow and sabotage the success of Catherine and William's tour. I have no doubt that this time around, their PR team's always thinking about how do we protect from Meghan executing another staged assault like what had happened with Ngozi Fulani. And I think this would have been a perfect opportunity for Meghan to jump in there had Prince William and Catherine not addressed this. I'm sure they would have had their Sussex squids go out there and start creating noise online about MBS's relationship to Epstein, and then you have Andrew, and then coming down on Catherine and William for not saying anything. So yeah, did they do this for strategy? I believe so. I guess, you have to do what you have to do to protect yourself. Look, we know that the royal family doesn't just put out statements to hear themselves talk, right? We know that these carefully crafted statements are meant to protect the institution, to protect the reputation, and to protect the brand. But what people need to start to recognize is that you can put out statements, but does it really have any effect on the situation? People want genuine accountability, or at least the transparency in addressing the deeper issues that are at play. And this is why I'm not buying it this time. I do think that this was done with selfish intentions. I'm not saying bad intentions, but it is to serve a purpose. It's to protect the image and brand of Prince William and Catherine because they are next in line and they have to protect the crown at all costs. Yeah, it's unfortunate that William and Catherine have been put in this position because they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't. And this is because the king has not handled this properly. Saying nothing is not going to make this go away. Same way it's not going to make the Meghan situation go away. In my opinion, I think the only way that the royals are going to be able to survive this is if they put their faith back into God and stop driving this satanic Agenda 2030. Because what we're seeing from these Epstein files is that clearly this agenda is rooted in Satanism. And more people are waking up and seeing it. What I'm seeing that I find really disgusting now is that a lot of these wealthy, powerful people who hung around Epstein, did business with him, partied with him, and even looked the other way, knowing what he was doing, now all of a sudden are in self-preservation mode, distancing themselves like, oh, I didn't really know him that much. But after he went to jail the first time, we immediately stopped all contact with him, which we know that quite a few people have been lying about that, like Howard Lutnick from the Trump administration. And yes, I do think Howard Lutnick needs to answer to that. What I'm starting to see that I don't like is that the victims now are being used as the shield to improve the image of those that are in self-preservation mode right now. These very wealthy and powerful people now all of a sudden are backing and supporting these victims. But where were they over the course of these decades? They all looked the other way. Last night, the Super Bowl aired this commercial.
After years of being kept apart, we're standing together.
Standing together.
Because this girl deserves the truth.
Because she deserves the truth.
Because we all deserve the truth.
So now you see that there's this NGO, World Without Exploitation, trying to make it appear that, yeah, this organization really cares about these victims. But lo and behold, this so-called NGO, World Without Exploitation, is a project operating under the Tide Center. Now you might ask, well, what's the Tide Center? Well, the Tide Center is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and George Soros's Open Society Foundation. See, the Tides Foundation and the Tide Center are entities operating under the same Tides network, okay? And the reason why this is important to understand is that the same Tides Foundation cut a check to Ghislaine Maxwell for $100,000 for her Terramar project. And that $100,000 is part of the whole money laundering scheme of moving money around that touches Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, Open Society, Rockefeller. So what we have with this big club that none of us are a part of is you have the Tides Foundation who funded the perpetrators. And now what you're seeing with that commercial is that they're helping to fund the cover-up with the respective narrative damage control by pretending to support the victims. This is really about self-preservation and salvaging reputations, and we're going to see more of this. These satanic globalists don't give a shit, and they see this as an opportunity to take advantage of this politically, and that's what they're doing. Ghislaine Maxwell has zero remorse for what she's done, because in her eyes, just like Andrew and a lot of these very powerful and wealthy people, is that they feel that they are superior to the rest of us.
I submitted to Comer a letter with 6 or 7 questions. Things like, who were the other co-conspirators? Who were the other men who raped these underage girls? Did she have any conversations about a deal with Donald Trump? Now, she's taken a blanket Fifth Amendment on any question. And my view is that many of my questions don't in any way incriminate her. So we'll see what she does. But there's 7 questions that I have specifically asked. And the assumption is she's pleading the fifth to each one of those. And the American people will see that there's an inconsistency. Why did she not plead the Fifth when Blanche asked her questions? And now she's pleading the Fifth about things that don't implicate her, but may implicate many of the other powerful people in the Epstein class that committed these crimes.
I understand you're headed to DOJ this afternoon
With Thomas Massey. We're going to be there at 3 o'clock. I think it says flight lands, and then we're headed over. And then we'll have a small availability after 5 o'clock, right after we're done. You know what I do think Chair Comer should do? He should call a House Oversight Subcommittee on the Epstein hearings and haul in every single person who's in those files who's talked about going to the Epstein Island. That is something I would support. It could be bipartisan. He could have a Republican chair, a Democratic ranking member, have a committee, and let's start the hearings next week.
There are so many people that they should be calling forward, like Deepak Chopra, seen here. This was in the files, I guess, with one of Epstein's girls, maybe.
Mr. Cameron, a British question, if I may. What do you say to the man formerly known as Prince Andrew and to Peter Mandelson with regard to giving evidence to your committee?
Mandelson may bring down the whole government, from what I hear. He just engaged in terrible behavior. I mean, the allegations are very serious that he was working for Gordon Brown and then feeding information about UK possibly buying euros and having Epstein trade on that. I mean, it is a deeply, deeply troubling. And, Epstein's, I saw this interview with Epstein's former girlfriend talking about how someone is a loser if they weren't mentioned in the Epstein files. It's a window into the elite impunity, this club. And by the way, I think this is the most vulnerable the British monarchy has ever been. I mean, I heard they were asking the Queen questions about the Epstein class. They ought to ask the King and Queen questions, and maybe this will be the end of the monarchy.
Do you think it could be the end of the monarchy?
Well, if they don't have answers, or if they're implicated with an Epstein class, not a good look for the British monarchy.
So many people think that this guy is still alive, and I'm starting to understand why. It's undeniable that this guy was protected on so many levels. With over 3 million files, I don't think we've even scratched the surface on how dark this goes. I firmly believe that these men did unimaginable things to these women. The stories about the sex slaves, I believe, are real.
You find Japanese boy. Doesn't work.
Now, this last clip that I'm going to show you here, I found in the Epstein files today that I don't think anybody has seen yet. I don't know who is behind the camera, but apparently this girl is in New York City, and she is being given a tour of underground tunnels that I didn't even know existed up near Central Park, which is concerning that she was able to film it. But take a look at this.
But it's right on the road. Trying to get all the layout.
Well, really? Do you remember what happened?
Oh, wow.
The first fight?
And it used to be part of the water supply from New York, Manhattan.
Shot and smelling. But they knew.
You gotta be kidding me. I mean, it's what, that's the main.
That's what we.
Yeah, but is that the main thing? Is there anything else you can open that with?
More often than not, has
Is it
middle
Grumman?
masonry walls covered.
That is our boat.
That is
That's cool.
Why is it here? You know, there's an opportunity to find out on the deck. Use it for the crew chief?
You could build out on the water?
Well, I mean, everything's open now. I mean, there's no...
And those are also pump houses. You see that we could do different things with. That's a northern pump house, but they're much smaller than ones. This is the prime one.
Okay. You could be all connected or whatnot.
Somehow, I don't know. It could have, they don't have to be.
Okay.
Hold on.
Great.
No. We'll leave it at that. You heard what you got last time we heard the steps are pretty... About halfway. Put a little space between you as you go down on the steps. Don't everyone get on the steps at once.
Yeah, you can't really see anything. I have a night shot on here, infrared, so it's actually picking up.
There you go. That's nice and cool.
Oh, did it come down here? So cool. Just get this part. So amazing.
So in the scheme of things, Chris, you could actually move all the stuff, right?
I suspect uptown is what they did, yeah.
Then, removed all this thing.
But I mean, all this masonry is really vintage of the 1860s. It's really quite... Actually, perhaps that might be the vent that goes out up top.
Oh, that's the transverse road in here?
Right. Now, where the reservoir, where the Great Lawn is, there was a reservoir originally there that predated the park, built in the 1840s. Became obsolete in the 1930s. There is a definite connection between the, Central Park and the fact that the water supply system is so integral to it.
It's great.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it's great.
This could be a night study.
And this pump house similar to this.
Pretty cool.
The story gets weirder and weirder. Perhaps maybe he's still alive.
Okay, so now I'm walking towards the lily pond. I'm here on the beach by myself. This is my swimming pool. No one's allowed to dock here. My beach. The luncheon place. The nursery. On the point there is the library.
Such a fraud.